Activision presents a smashing blast from the past. Developed by Vicarious Visions. It's Crash Bandicoot!
Heroes and heroines of all ages. When the world tells you to get a life, you're always welcome at the One Up Block. My name is Dan, the man, your host, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. Now you may be asking yourself, Dan, why are you playing Crash Bandicoot? You have led up nothing to this? You have been playing other games? Where is the Persona 1 Let's Play? Where the hell is Chain of Memories? You've got a lot of work to do on those. And guys, calm down. You're all correct. Some of you are assholes, but you're all correct. I just really wanted to pick up and play a game that's pick up and play, and you really can't get much more pick up and play than Crash Bandicoot. I can play through this game pretty easily without needing to worry too much about too much stuff. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, a couple of things about what this Let's Play is going to be about. This is only going to be like a side project I'm going to do just to make sure I can have something fun to play. Because RPGs take a lot of time and I have to remember a bunch of stuff for them. So until the end of the Persona 1 Let's Play, which is we're pretty close to finishing Persona 1. So until the end of that, this is going to be like a back burner. I'm only going to play this when I feel like it kind of Let's Play. But Crash Bandicoot is pretty easy to pick up and play, so it's easy to record, I assume. And we are going to be going for 100%. The only thing that I'm not going to do for a while is probably gold relics, which are required for a trophy, so I'm probably going to record myself killing myself trying to do them. Because number one, it'd be funny. Let's be real here. It would be hilarious. And I'm going to be going for 100%, clearly. So that'll be fun, and I will make sure to, chop up all my failures so you can laugh at my pain. Because good God, can this be a pain in the ass sometimes. But yeah, without further ado, let's hop on in. You guys know I like to talk a lot during the intros to these new Let's Plays, so I apologize. But the loading times are a little lengthy, so I'm gonna shut up during any loading times. Or if I don't shut up, I'm gonna cut them out anyway. So you don't have to deal with that, you get just the game. But this is a really good remaster of all three of these games, and I really wanted to do my part in showing you why, if you're on the fence about whether or not you should purchase these, I'm gonna be the guy who is just like everybody else and is gonna try and convince you that it's a pretty good game. But if you haven't played any of the three Crash games before, this is definitely the definitive way to play all of them. They're pretty cheap. I don't think they're as cheap as buying each individual game for the PlayStation 1, which you can still do. But these are really good remakes, and they're really pretty, so yeah. But we're going to be starting with the first game, of course, but there are 3 games here, and we're going to tackle all of them. And I'm going to consider this one Let's Play. I will be doing a Let's Play of the other PlayStation 1 games at some point down the road whenever I get the chance. But for now, we're just going to do the Insane Trilogy as like a whole series in and of itself. But let's hit the new game and start it up finally. Starting a new game will overwrite the autosave slot. So this game has autosaving, and whenever you click new game, you will overwrite it. So the game does let you save normally, which I have done. I have a save file that I'm going to keep safe because it's my 100% run so far. But yeah, we're going to overwrite this autosave slot just for the sake of the Let's Play.
Dr. Cortex, we haven't determined the cause of past failures.
Moron! This Bandicoot will be my general, and he will lead my Cortex commandos to world domination. This time, I shall reign triumphant. closer than ever before. Quickly, into the vortex.
Dr. Cortex, the vortex is not ready. We have no idea what it could do.
Failure again. Capture him!
Uh-oh.
Prepare the female Bandicoot.
Okie dokie. So a few things about that cutscene. It's really pretty, by the way. This entire game is really pretty in case you haven't picked up on that by looking at the screen right now. Are your eyeballs destroyed? A lot of people think that the colors are a little dry and they kind of wish that they were a little more bright and colorful. I can agree, but it doesn't bother me too much, so I'm not going to say too much on that. But about that cutscene, I really like the redesign for Tana, which is the female Bandicoot. She used to just look like Pamela Anderson, like super hot, like supermodel girl. Like she was clearly a Bandicoot, but she just looked like more like a hot woman than anything else. They kind of gave her like a cute update to where now she's more cute than hot. And I mean, that may sound weird to some people, but I prefer cute. So that's pretty good. But yeah, let's get into the nitty gritty. I'm not going to be going for 100% on the levels right from the beginning. If you're not familiar with Crash, you can 100% a level by collecting every single box in the area and completing the level, which will get you what is called a gem. A gem is exactly what I just told you. It's given to you for collecting every box. I'm going to do it for this first level, but only because it's really easy. We might actually see a Easter egg, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if it shows up in this very first beginning of the game, like after you start a new game, but maybe we'll see it. But collecting all the boxes in this first level is really easy, and it'll show you what it looks like. But for the most part, I'm just going to wait till we beat the game, and then I'm going to backtrack for all the 100% stuff, because it'd be much easier for me to just play through the game normally. And is the Easter egg here? It is not here. I guess you have to beat the game before you can see the Easter egg, so never mind. There's a checkpoint. Now, when you get this Aku Aku mask, which that is the witch doctor face that you've seen flying around me, it's actually an extra hit. Crash can only take one hit of damage before dying, but if you get an Aku Aku mask, it's basically like if Mario gets a super mushroom, he can take an extra hit. And as you just saw there, that is how you're supposed to take out all those boxes using the Aku Aku mask. That's really difficult for a lot of people, including myself, before I, was taught the trick by Cat Icarus. Thank you, my friend. You're never gonna watch this video, but that's fine. So we collect this last box, and ba-boom, we got ourselves a gem, and that is level 1, 100% completed. It will not be that easy every time. And every time you get a gem and complete a level perfectly, Crash will do a funny animation revealing the item you've collected, and he'll do that little pose and shout, da-da-da-da! It's really cute, but we're not gonna... Okie doke, and we're back. I talked during the loading screen, but don't expect us to go for 100% every time, because we're not. From here on out, I'm not gonna worry about collecting every box until we get to the last level. I haven't decided if I'm just gonna beat the final boss and then just backtrack and show you the alternate ending afterwards, but we'll figure it out as we go. Next level is Jungle Rollers. Okie dokie. So, this game is really... What you see is what you get. Everything you've seen me do so far is what Crash Bandicoot 1 is. Getting to the end of the level and basically just touching the victory. Like, that's it. It's Mario. It's a 2D platformer in 3D form, is what they would call it back in the day. They had the idea of just turning a platformer 3D. So, unlike something like Mario 64, where there was a big world and you collected, like, different objectives, like you had to do different stuff to collect stars, this game is just a tried and true platformer. You just go from point A to point B, and it's just as simple as that. And these first couple levels are pretty easy. What you just saw there is a Tana token. We've already gotten one. When you collect all 3, you can actually go to a bonus stage. I'm telling this to you people, expecting you to be like 5, like you don't know what Crash Bandicoot is, which is not a fair assessment, because Crash has been in other things since the original runs of these games. He's been in some pretty lackluster games over the years, and then he was recently in Skylanders, and, you know, that's like 100% a kid magnet game, because it's like toys, so, you know, maybe you do know who Crash is, but you don't know who Crash is. This is a bonus stage. When you collect all the 3 Tana tokens, there is a platform you can take to get here. Unlike in the original game, where once you collected all 3 Tana tokens, you were taken immediately. But just like there's a difference there, in this game you have to do the Tana bonus rounds to get all the boxes in a level, whereas in the original game they didn't matter. They were mostly just for extra lives, which is still the case if you're not going for 100%, so even if you're not trying to be a fucking completionist, I'd still recommend coming here for lives if you need them. But yeah, there's Tana, and that's kind of weird because she was just captured. But, yeah. In the original game, Tana is just standing here, and you can leave the bonus room without saving her, so that's kind of weird. So they added an animation for her being recaptured by Cortex, which is pretty cute, all things considered. But, yeah, now you basically know the gist of Crash Bandicoot, and all I'm going to be doing is trying to survive. Being a cool guy. Didn't collect everything, but that's fine. We probably could have got 100% on this level. I don't remember. But I'm not going to worry about it. Not today. Not today, Zerg. Not today. Okie doke. And the next level is the Great Gate. Okie dokie. This place is kind of a nightmare for speedrunning, by the way. You may have noticed on the home screen that there's also some sort of other object next to the gems. That is a time relic, which a time relic is unlocked after you beat a level for the first time. Once you beat a level once, you can actually go back into it and do a speed run of it. And depending on what time you get, you'll get a relic. And the best relics are platinum, which are pretty difficult to get. You have to basically be a speedrunning god at the level and not make any mistakes. Oh crap, like I just did. I just missed myself in Aku Aku. Doesn't that suck? But the time relics are really difficult, especially in Crash 1. Whereas in Crash 2, I rarely miss a gold relic on my first try. In Crash 1, I always get sapphires, which is right below gold. And it sucks. It sucks a lot. Because they're not worth diddly poop. But as far as Crash's control compared to the original game, I feel Crash controls mostly better. Like, this is like, if I could recommend you play any version of Crash 1, this is definitely the one. For multiple reasons. Crash does feel good to control, so that's definitely the biggest plus. He's not a Humpty Dumpty fuck, as Kid Icarus, doing another fucking mention to him, I guess, would say. He doesn't, in the original game Crash, when you, like, jumped, you kind of put a wedding ring on your jump arc. Like, Crash was really weird in the air with his momentum, so it was kind of strange. But here, you have way more control over him, and that's definitely a positive. I think... no, there's nothing here. But he does control better, but there's something off with his controls, where I find myself whiffing a bunch of jumps. Where, like, I'll go to jump and I'm pretty positive I'm gonna make it, and then, like, by the end of the jump, I totally just fall to my death for some reason. And it's come to the point where I've done it so much that I thought I was just being bad, but I think there's gotta be something wrong with the controls. Like, that's how bad it feels. During these screens, if Crash gets hit by a bunch of boxes, he will slowly start looking like he's taking more and more hits. Like, his animations change depending on how many boxes hits him, and you actually get a trophy for letting a good number of boxes hit him. Okie doke, and you may be saying to yourself, these levels are pretty easy. That's because they're the first levels. This one has actually a different gimmick to it. Okie doke, and the gimmick for this level actually is that we're going to be running towards the screen instead of away from it, which is actually kind of disorienting, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Like, once you've played these levels a lot before, they're really not that bad. You kind of know what to expect. But as a first-time player, I died to these levels a lot. And it's pretty easy because you have no idea what's coming, and like I said before, I whiff a lot of jumps. So it's pretty easy for me to just, like, completely miss a jump and fall right into a pit. In general. So, like, I've got problems on top of problems on top of problems, so, you know, maybe that's just my life. Maybe I just suck. It's entirely possible. I don't expect myself to be some sort of crash god, but I will do my best. Also, Crash Bandicoot, for me, is not like a super nostalgic thing. Like, I didn't play it religiously like a bunch of people who are totally into Crash have. But I played it enough as a kid. Hey, we got the gym. I've played it enough as a kid that I do still feel this nostalgicness for it. But I have not played it nearly as much as I wish I got to. Da-da-da-da! I have to do a lot of waiting in between these loading screens. Oh boy, but next level is Upstream. And this level is kind of a change of pace, visually wise. We are now going, as the level suggests, up a stream. There's a Tana token, and these levels are pretty good. They're not too bad. All of these early levels are stupid easy. And everybody who's played this game and got their ass whooped by it has just made me public enemy number one. Because apparently people think these games are super hard, and I agree. They're pretty difficult. Maybe not the Dark Souls of platformers difficult, as some may have you believe, but yeah, man, they're pretty fun to pick up and play and go, and if you put the time into it, you can learn to be good at it and have a good time with it. Even Crash 1, which I'm not too terribly fond of, which is funny because Crash 1 is the game that I played the most in my childhood of the three games. The second one would probably be Warped, which I didn't play too much of either, to be perfectly honest, and I don't think I played 2 at all as a kid. Oh, wait. Almost missed the Tana. There we go. Boink. These are also much easier to do now that you have more control over Crash in the air, by the way. Bouncing on boxes used to be a pretty tricky thing to do for me, and now it's much easier, which is funny because I think that a lot of people who are super nostalgic for the original games say that they have problems bouncing on boxes, which I can only imagine is because they've gotten so used to Humpty Dumpty fucking Crash from Crash 1 that they don't really realize that their playset, like their playset, what are they, 5? Their skill set has changed, where now they expect Crash to play like ass, but he actually handles better in this game, so they play worse because of it. You also notice those platforms. Those platforms are gem platforms. There's special gems that we can collect that are called colored gems that we get in special levels, and we will get to them when we get to them. Colored gems are actually something that you have to go through an entire level without dying, which is what the game used to be, because, number one, this is another reason why you would want to pick this over the original. In the original game, when Crash hit a checkpoint box, and, like, say you're trying to get the 100%, go for the gem, you get to the checkpoint box, and you hit the checkpoint box, and then you die. You expect to come back with all the boxes you previously destroyed to be destroyed, right? Well, that's not the case. The boxes respawn, and you have to replay the entire level over again just to get to 100%. But that's no longer the case because the game does save your boxes at checkpoints, which is definitely a plus. But there are colored gems still, which require you to get through the entire level, collect every box, and not die. So those are going to be pretty fun for me to record, but this is our first boss, and our last stop today for this episode. And welcome to Papu Papu. His entire strategy is slamming his thing into the ground and then spinning it around. But if you're good, you can just keep hopping on his back and stopping him, which I'm having a poor time doing right now. and I'm not exactly sure why, but you just keep stomping on him, basically. If you have good timing, just wait for him to slap down and you'll be able to kill him. Whenever he falls down like that, apparently he can kill you, so be careful with that. But we win. And we get to go to the next level. But before we end this off, we actually have a place that isn't from the original game right here. And yeah, that's another Bandicoot, and her name is Coco apparently, and she has a time machine. Coco, do you want her to join your adventure? I'm gonna say yes, because I want to play her, and you can swap between her and Crash with the R2 button. So, Coco is basically just Crash. Coco is Crash's sister, which you don't know about that yet, that's in the second game. In the second game, you meet Crash's sister, who is pretty insignificant, really, until that point. The reason why she exists was because Tawna was too hot. I'm not even kidding. Parents thought that Tawna was too hot, so they wanted to redesign a new character that was more cute, and Coco ended up being what happened. So, yeah, Crash lost a girlfriend and gained a sister. Kinda sucks. But yeah, that's all the time we have for this one. A hero's work is never done. Join me again next time as we continue to tackle Crash Bandicoot. Later days, everybody.